All right, all right, all right. Give me 1 second, get some shit set up, and we will be live. All right, hey, we're live. All right. I know, I know. I took almost a month off without saying anything from Super Bowl till today. It's just unavoidable. A bunch of shit happened. I don't want to get into it. It's not anything entertaining, interesting, or drama kind of like interesting. It's boring. But today we are back with the Sunday cigar. We actually have something kind of special. This is a gift from a friend. And I don't know if you can tell how yellow this cellophane wrapper is. It is quite yellow. Normally they are not this yellow. If I do that, you can see the back of the sticker. It's quite yellow. This has some age. What would have this kind of age? Well, it's cigars so legendarily bad that he's held on to it and has never smoked it. That's right, I said it was so legendarily bad that he's never smoked it. Why would he have a cigar so legendarily bad? Because people gave him a bunch, and he kind of just couldn't give the last one away. I guess, like nobody would take it. Till my dumbass showed up. So, what cigar could be that bad? Well, it's a Drew Estates blend, which is weird because normally they make good blends. But this is the My Uzi weighs a ton. The Muat. The Muat. XL. XXL. This is a 7 by 70. 70 ring gauge, 7 inches long. This is a beast of a stick. And from everything I've read and everything I've been told, the Muat, My Uzi weighs a ton, is fucking garbage. But they came in a fucking briefcase sized Apache or Pelican case. And so people bought them for that. So let's just do a flat cut. I'm not going to do a crown cut. I'm not going to do a punch. You know what? I'm going to do a triple jet. Light it. And we're going to see if this thing lives up to its reputation of garbage. All right? Let's find out. It could be good, could be shit. Who knows? Yeah. It doesn't taste too bad. Problem with aged sticks is sometimes the wrapper at the crown gets kind of flaky. Mm. Well, I'm probably gonna spit it. Okay. Well, first initial thoughts. Upon lighting, bland. But not a lot of cigars have tons of flavor when you first light them. They have to warm up. Bit of a tight draw, but probably loosen up. Meh. It's not bad. It's like a really mellow, bland undercrown. Like super mellow, bland. It's not even like mellow, mellow. It's just like bland, bland. If that makes any sense. Hold on, let me get a better light. I mean, it's not awful. Maybe it'll warm up. Maybe it'll get peppery. I've heard some people say it's got some pepper to it, and I like pepper in my cigar. But we'll find out. I mean, It's not the worst thing I smoked. It's better than an acid, but that's not saying much. Because I consider acids way down here with Swisher Sweet, White Owl, and Philly. You know, gas station brand cigars. This is better than a acid, but not saying much. We'll see as it warms up. Hmm. You can tell it's tightly rolled, and it's got a tight draw. But if you watch me puff, I'm blowing from here, but there's a there. Watch. The tiny little puff coming out the clip. Yeah, that's how you know it's a tight draw. And a tight draw isn't necessarily bad. It just fucks with the flavor sometimes. Could be worse though. It could be an acid, which will probably be what I smoke next week to suffer for your amusement. I will suffer for your amusement. Oh well. But give me 1 second. Well, I can keep talking while I check this. I just want to make sure that I mute myself there. Okay. Sorry about that. I have Discord on so that I can, or not Discord, but a Twitch on so that I can actually engage with chat if I have to. That should be fine. All right. I'm gonna leave that like that and hope it's for the best because this way I can at least engage with chat if for whatever reason you can't hear me. However, I should be able to hear you, but there's nobody fucking watching, so it doesn't really matter. You know? Oop, almost dropped it. Hmm. And we have a blowout. That's how tightly wrapped this thing is. You can even see the band, it dips down a little around the band. That's how tightly rolled that is. We are going to get our leather punch. We are going to try to open up the crown a little. God damn. I am. Oh, there we go. This is a tightly packed cigar. I'm having a hard time getting the punch in here, or the scratch all in here to open it up, and it's already splitting right there, right fucking there. That's how I know this is not a boating well. We might switch to the pipe in a minute. Hmm. As for flavors, it really doesn't have much of any flavor. Like I said, it's like a really, really, really disappointing Drew Estate Underground Maduro. I think it's got a little bit of Maduro taste, a little bit of pepper, but nothing really noticeable. No cream, no leather, no earthy tones, no chalk. It's just disappointment in a stick. Like, my Uzi weighs a ton, the Muat. XXL 7 by 77 ring gauge. So far, first quarter inch has been nothing but disappointment. Absolute and total disappointment. I now know the disappointment my father felt when I failed to play football and be good at it. Mm. Yeah, I now know the failure my father felt for me. He found out that I did not like football, and I was no good at football. And I preferred hockey, and I was pretty good at hockey. And boxing. I don't think he felt failure for that. I was just glad I wasn't getting in trouble at school anymore. Because I wasn't fighting at school, I'd fight at the hockey rink. Or I'd fight at boxing. Get it out of my system there. Speaking of boxing, everyone's talking about it. The Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson exhibition fight. Because I seriously doubt Jake Paul has any real fights. They're mostly exhibition fights. And a lot of people are talking about this fight coming up. Like, they want to know who I think is going to win. Tyson. I'm betting on Tyson. Because Tyson is 58. Yes, he's a lot older than Jake Paul. Easily by 20 years, by 28 years. Here's the thing though, Tyson has been training for boxing since he was a kid. He didn't get into the game in his mid 20s like Jake Paul did. We're a little late to develop that talent that should be coming from when you're, a young man or a teenage man. Jake Paul doesn't have that. Tyson has that. Tyson also has 40 plus fucking years of experience in fighting. And I don't mean just fight, I mean in boxing. He knows how to work someone within the wingspan, out of the wingspan. Meaning this, your wingspan is how long your reach is, right? From here to here is your wingspan. When not like that. But he knows how to work when people get within that reach. He knows how to keep them out of that reach. He knows how to keep a shoulder cocked, do quick, hard jabs. And I'm not saying like, oh, it's quick. No, I mean like I saw a training video from a couple weeks ago of Tyson doing a quick, hard jab with his offhand on a heavy bag that deformed the heavy bag. I haven't seen Jake Paul do that with his primary arm, his preferred or strong arm for fighting. I haven't seen a video of Jake Paul doing that. Tyson did it with his off arm. He deformed a heavy bag with a jab, with a quick little jab. That's a lot of power. That's a lot of fucking strength. And Tyson is still a very powerful fighter. Like, if I had to choose who I would fight in the ring between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, I'd fight Jake Paul because there's a pretty good chance I'll live. There's a real good chance I won't die. I'm not saying I could beat Jake Paul's butt. I'm fucking 40 and out of shape. But I might there's an overwhelming odd that I will survive, being in the ring with Jake Paul. Mike Tyson, on the other hand, I don't think he knows how to pull a punch. He is maximum effort every single way. You know, Mike Tyson would probably kill me. That's why I'm betting on Mike Tyson because he's got decades upon decades of experience being an effective boxer, both out of reach and reach. He will chase Paul to the ropes and run him around the ropes. If he doesn't run him around the ropes, he will keep him in the center of that fucking ring and work his ass down from there. I do not believe Jake Paul can win this. Even if it comes down to points, I think Tyson will get more points because Tyson knows how to pick his moments, right? And by that I mean Tyson has over 40 years of boxing experience where he knows how to pick his moments to do a bunch of quick hits for points, but he also knows when he needs to try for a knockout. And Tyson's got the power to do a fucking knockout. Like, Tyson knows what the fuck he's doing. Tyson, not someone you want to mess with. Like that dude on the airplane found out. Wow. This has a tunnel going. The black spot in the middle has a tunnel. Let's see how deep it goes. Uh, it's only about that deep. It's only that deep. That's still a tunnel. And that is still, like I said, this thing is almost made of pure disappointment. God damn. That is disappointing. And what it generally means when a cigar gets a tunnel, it means that there was a stem in there, and the stem burns faster than the leaf when rolled. So yeah, disappointment, both flavor and construction. The Moet is not a good cigar. I'm sorry, chat. Now, like I was ranting, yeah, Jake Paul can punch. Jake Paul can fight, but he's no Tyson. Mike Tyson can really throw if he wants to. But this brings up another argument that my friends and I got into on Friday. How much money would it take you to get in the ring with Jake Paul? Versus how much money would it take you to get in the ring with Mike Tyson? That's a very valid question because there are two different answers for that. It would take $1 million for me to get in the ring, my old, out of shape, crippled ass to get in the ring with Jake Paul. $1 million, I'll do it. Mike Tyson, 200 million. 200 million. And I will go in the ring with Mike Tyson and pray to God I survive. Because I'm pretty sure I could survive against Jake Paul. I might get the shit beat out of me, but you know what? I'll be alive. Mike Tyson, there is no guarantee I would survive that. Hmm. Something's going on. I'll be right back. Nothing that bothers or concerns me. We are going to get another drink. I've had plenty of water. Now we will do a diet soda. Why? Because I'm 40. Calories matter. And I don't drink soda every day. I don't. Yeah. There's a lot of people that sit there and say, oh, diet soda is bad. It is. But soda's bad for you in general. Soda is not a healthy alternative to soda. So, yeah. But I'm not going to drink the whole can. I'm going to throw the other half away. So, what I'm going to go do right now, I'm going to go pour it up, throw the can away. But no, I don't believe soda to be healthy. And I know it's hypocritical because I drink maybe 3, 4 monsters a week. And there's no way that that's healthy. But you know what? After dialysis, sometimes nothing keeps me going like a monster. Not sponsored. Wish I was. But, oh well. But no, as I was saying, sorry, I'm burnishing a piece of leather that I recently dyed. I got some new dye, and I kind of like how it looks for the application technique. It's a green. It's supposed to be like emerald green. It is in a way. But, excuse me while I bring down a light. Come on, come on, come on. There we go. Let's change that to that. Let's turn that down. There. Warm white. There. Okay. The green, when applied with the toconal burnish and then buffed, it looks kind of like malachite. The stone malachite. Beautiful green gemstone. Slightly toxic. It's only slightly poisonous, but it looks like malachite, and I really like the way malachite looks. So, I've got some other leather that's drying. Two cigar cases, one just a straight dip, one a dip and a brush with a redip, and then some cigar and pipe stands that are dipped, brushed, dipped. So, trying to see what they look like. This one is not redipped. It was dipped, then brushed, and now I'm just burnishing it to see how it changes. Because I want to see how it changes. I want to see how this will look. And this isn't anything fancy. This is just what I'm calling hat cards. It has initials in it, and then a stamp pattern that I either make up or improvise or use, progressive stamping to do. And these usually just go in the hat band of a Stetson, like so. Or some people will glue them to their baseball caps and then they'll cut them along a seam where it bends and then put the bottom part of the cut on their bill of their hat. And all it is just a little hat card with, a stamp pattern. And I kind of like this stamp pattern. It's two different stamps used to create kind of a peacock tail. And I like it. But that's neither here nor there. And these aren't something I sell. These are just I give them to my friends as I make them, and they're generally grateful to have them, or they're fakely grateful, and then they'll never wear it. I don't care. But if you see my arm moving, it's just me burnishing a piece of leather. In fact, eventually I'm gonna get a camera for up here that will look down here so you can see what I'm doing when I'm working, when I do leatherworking streams. But until such time as I have that webcam, we got to deal with what we got. And what we got ain't that. But I regress. I digress. I've also been getting a lot of spam, like just junk mail, in the post from my company. And some of it's, normal. Hey, we handle this, or this is our service that we provide, or we wholesale business supplies, some of which I may actually take up, most of which I won't, you know. But every so often I get one that it looks like an invoice from the government. But if you look at it, there's just all sorts of shit wrong. Yeah, it's got my company's EIN, my FEI. It's got name of the company, where it's registered, all that shit, and it looks like an invoice because it is. And they send you an invoice hoping you pay the invoice without thinking about it, so they can send you a bunch of crap. And the most recent one I got, looked like it was from OSHA. It had OSHA compliance all over it. Look at it going, OSHA, what the fuck's OSHA give a shit about a one man operation? You know? Like, I understand that things have to be done safely, things have to be stored correctly and properly. But as I am just one person in a fucking garage, OSHA's not too concerned because I'm not digging trenches. You know, of course, not to say that watch me get an OSHA inspection and fail because I don't have OSHA compliance. I don't have the posters and all that shit. But the company that sent it, I'm not going to say their name. They made it look like a fucking actual OSHA invoice for compliance. But when you flip it over, there's a disclaimer saying that this is not an official OSHA invoice or notice or citation. This is nor an official invoice. This is a bill for pre-sale. And what they're trying to get you to do is send them $130 so they can send you three posters and the OSHA compliance binder that OSHA will give you for free. Go fucking figure. Yeah. OSHA will give you that shit for free. Now, as I'm a one man show, and as I don't make money from this yet, in fact, I'm losing money on this, but I'm planning to have more inventory by the middle or end of next month before I go to market, which I've talked about before, which is an important thing I'll cover here in a second if you haven't heard my babbling about inventory before market, is that I'm also in the process of doing stuff that most people, well, a lot of people, if, unless they're own a business or they're passionate about a craft, don't really look into, right? But we'll get to that in a second. But OSHA will give you a bunch of compliance stuff for free. They have free courses online, everything you need, which is great, which I do plan to use. However, I'm not going to pay some company out of way out of state. They are about a 30-hour drive east of me on I-10. $130 for, some posters and a book that I can get for free from OSHA. Go figure. You know. Now, the stuff that I'm doing as again as a small time business owner makes sense because I'm doing research into various things that I should know. You know, and it's not just like taxes, tax preparation, HR stuff like that. No, I am doing research into how that's managed and the best way to go about it. That makes sense. That's shit you should be looking into if you're thinking of opening a business. As this is my second business, I pretty much know how I'm going to deal with that. However, as this is my second little LLC, the first one being STF Studios, um, I am looking into machines to expand production. And what that means is I'm looking into a sewing machine, so I don't have to hand stitch everything. I can speed up the process of making products with. Why are they stopping in front of my house? Ah, fuck it, I don't care. So I can speed up production on things that are sewn, wallets, cigar cases, stuff like that. Maybe get into making a few bags, or toiletry bags, and that's fine. That's fine. That that's expected. But I'm looking into sewing machines and I'm doing research on the best ones. Matthew? Yeah, just sit in here. Thank you. Yeah, I'll tell him in a second. All right. You have a good day. Thank you. Sorry, I gotta tell my roommate his package is in the garage. But no, I'm looking into sewing machines trying to find the best one for the best price. Or Amazon package is out here in the garage. No, not Georgia. Garage. Anyways, so I'm looking into the best sewing machines, and you can't just use like a regular sewing machine. Like your grandma would use to make shirts or clothing or curtains and shit like that. No. What you need is an industrial sewing machine rated for leather, because leather is a very thick material. And this might look thin, but that's because this has been burnished and worked. Let me show you an unburnished piece of same leather. Compare it. This is 5 ounce leather, and it's several millimeters thick. Now this looks thinner by quite a lot because I have burnished and worked this piece of leather. So, by comparison, let's see. Unworked, unburnished, untooled piece of leather, a veg tan. 5 ounce is about 2 millimeters. All right, 2 to 3 millimeters. Once it's been burnished, stained, and worked, it is now one, maybe 2 millimeters at the thickest. And so you need a special, sewing machine. You can't just use a regular one. And even industrial sewing machines may not, some are not strong enough to do leather. So I'm leaning towards there's two by Brother and two by Juki. Juki's kind of the gold standard of industrial sewing machines for leather. They're Japanese brand, they're powerhouses. And those are the two brands I'm looking at, but I'm still doing research on the best ones to buy. Okay? Mm. Mm-mm-mm. One of the other things that I'm looking into, give me 1 second, I need to get a little bit of music going. I don't know if that's too loud. All right, there. Now I have some music. I don't think you can hear it. That's the best part. It is a burnishing machine, so I'm not having to hand do it. So stuff like cigar cases, I can get that perfect mirror burnish edge without having to do this for hours. And that's an important thing. I'm also looking into a strap cutter. Why would I need a strap cutter? Well, for these cigar and pipe stands, these are the raw. These are just stamped with, my logo, with my company's initials. But these are straps cut from leather. And I have a hand tool that I do it with. Excuse me. But this isn't very consistent. I want those cigar pipe stands to be 1 1/3 inch in width. And this cannot do that reliably. This it can't. It kind of does it nicely, but it doesn't do it well enough. Or not 1 1/3 inch, 1 1/4 inch. 1 1/4 is what I prefer. And it does not do it reliably. It doesn't, which kind of sucks. I'm also looking into getting a skeever machine that allow me to shave the edges before stitching to get a more uniform appearance. You know, I'm also looking into other dyes and presses that I could be using to expedite processes. And hey, Matt is bland, bland, bland. Yeah, but I am looking into machines that will help expedite processes. I'm looking into better ways of dyeing because what I'll do is I have a dog treat Tupperware that I'll fill with maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches of hot water, add my dye into, stir it, make sure it's properly mixed, and then I'll dip the pieces in here while wearing gloves because leather dye will stain your skin for a month at least. And let them soak for a few minutes, pull them out, pat them dry, buff them dry, then let them dry, then redo it, and then do it again, do it again, do it again until they get a good color. What do I do with the dye that was in there? Well, I poured it into another container I have sitting by the exit of the garage that's got a lid. So, yeah. But I am doing research into the best sewing machines and edge beveler machines that I can. Now, there's a bunch, and I know Tandy Leather makes some. I believe Weaver Leather Supply also makes some, but I'm not sure. But Tandy Leather makes some, and they're expensive. And I know they're purpose built, but I don't know if they're worth the money. So I'm also doing some research into some Tandy Leather sewing machines and edge bevelers and skeevers and burnishers because I know there's a purpose fucking built for it. And the ones that I want, I need to have rated and purposely built for leather. I can't just do it with, you know, a brother sewing machine meant for fabric and denim. It has to be specifically meant and rated for leather and not light leather because I'm not working with light leather. I'm working with medium to heavyweight leathers. So it has to be able to do a single, lock stitch. And I'd prefer to have an automated foot where it presses the leather through itself as it stitches because that would expedite the process. And I know there's one on Amazon for like $120. It's a hand crank machine. It's made of hot metal. It's straight out of China. That's not what I want. I know how to use the sewing machine. I do know how to sew both fabric and leather. And I do know how to use a fabric sewing machine because I've made curtains for friends before. And at one point, I made dog dresses for a friend of mine because she asked me to for her dog. So, yeah, that's the thing you now know about me. I know how to sew and use a sewing machine. Mhm. And there's no shame in that. There really isn't shame in knowing how to sew. My grandpa used to say every man needs a trade because when the world goes to hell, if you have a marketable trade skill, you can find a way to live. You can find to make money. Look at plumbers, electricians, carpenters, welders. Those are trade skills, but those are high demand trade skills. Something happens in the house having to do with plumbing, I'm not going to do it myself. I'm going to call a licensed plumber who's bonded and insured. Why? Because homeowner insurance doesn't cover it if you do it yourself and it fucks up. But you have a licensed, bonded, and insured plumber do it, golden. Same with electricians. You know, woodworking and carpenters are two different things, both in the same vein. And there's a lot of crossover between them. But, I digress. I gotta turn the music down. It's loud as shit. I don't know if y'all can hear it, but I do love Loud Pipes by Rat-a-Tat-Tat. Alright, we should be good. The music's more for me, not for y'all. Sorry. Helps. I like music. I like to listen to music. Hell, that's why I do audio engineering. So most of what I do is digitization and restoration. Mm. But I digress. It allows me to listen to music. I've worked with some musicians, both local and state famous musicians in the past, and I enjoy it. I really do. I really, really do. But this is more about cigars. As disappointing as this cigar is, it's still a cigar. And we're about, I don't know, 2 inches into it, and it hasn't changed. It is just as bland as when it started. It's consistently bland. The Muat is just as bland. The Moywat, no, Muat, yeah, weighs a ton. Muat. It's just as bland from the start as it is from the end, I guess. I mean, it is bland. I had a friend who was watching one of my streams and they asked me offline why I don't have a donation button. And it's very simple. I'm a grown ass man. I have my own money. I don't need y'all to donate. I'm not DSP. I'm not making this a living. I'm not. And I don't have illusions of making a living. Now I'd like to, be popular. I'd like for people to enjoy my streams. But I'm not gonna sit here and beg for money. Like, oh, I need the views, give me the views, I need the donos, I need the subs. No. No. I'm 40 years old. I'm a middle-aged man. I've got the bald spot to prove it. Trust me. Bald spot. I wear a beanie not to hide the bald spot, but because I get cold because I'm on blood thinners and on dialysis. I get cold real fast. That's why I always have a beanie on. You know, it's just the nature of the beast. You know, but actually, hold on. Let me grab something real fast. I'll grab this one. Mostly dry, but not quite. All right, I can't handle this too much. I have to put it back when I'm done. But this is one of the cigar and pipe stands I'm making with the green dye. And with the green dye, I am going to use, if I can get it in there, these gold rivets, because green and gold always look good together. Put that back. But I really like how this green looks on these. It looks a lot like malachite. It's a deep emerald malachite green. One sec. Are these trying? No, they are not. Never mind. I was going to show you what the cigar cases and the two different styles I made. One that's bright, just double dipped, and one that's dipped, brushed, dipped. But they're a little too wet to handle, and I don't want to touch them. Mostly because I don't want to dye my fingers fucking green for a month. Because leather dyes leather. What is leather? Skin. Your skin will get dyed for weeks on end with leather dye. Even with frequent hand washing, it can still stay there for weeks on end. Which is why I wear leather gloves or not leather, rubber gloves when I work with it. Because I don't want my skin stained different colors. You know? I've made that mistake in the past. I'm not doing it again. Now, my preferred dye is Fabians. I prefer Fabians dye and edge coat. Why? Because it's what I've worked with in the past. It's what I have the most experience with. It's what I think is the best and most solid dye product to be used for me to use. You know, like my cigar case is in both what I'm calling red cedar grain because it kind of looks like redwood, red cedar, and Amarillo. These are both off the same dye. These are both light brown by Fabians, but dipped twice, dipped and brushed, and they look different, and I love it because I think it looks like cedar, or it looks like lambskin, even though it's cow leather, and I like the way that looks. In fact, I have one stitched that I need to case and stretch later, but let's put it in the right way. This is just a throwaway because I didn't like how the stamping looked on it, and I don't feel like fixing it. But the bottom slides into the top. You've seen cigar cases, you know what they do. They go like this. They hold your cigars. You open it up, pull the cigar out, put it back in. The bottom I like, I'm okay with. It's got CNS, cedar and smoke, but I don't really like how that line turned out for stamping. I just don't like it. So meh. So I'll probably sell it for a discount or give it to one of my friends and say, hey, have a free case. You know, I just need to stretch them. I also got stuff I need to stitch, those other cases. And then I'll need to stitch the green ones and hopefully get those out by St. Patrick's Day and sell them as a hey, flash sale, get them cheap. You know, mm, mm. Still bland. Still very, very, very bland. I'm not recording. God damn it. Why am I not recording? I'll just download it later, upload it. Doesn't matter. Oh, I thought I'd hit record and I didn't. I just noticed I hadn't. Almost an hour into it and I realized I'm not fucking recording. I'm not a very bright man. Mm, Miserable. I love Miserable by Dick Dale and the Dale Tones. I love that song. It is such a good song. No real lyrics. It's just audio. It's just music, but it's really good. It's that old surfer style, crash and wave, tumble kind of rock. Well, it's not as tight as it was, but it's still bland. Unremarkably bland. It's almost remarkably bland, you know? It is almost remarkable on how bland this fucking stick is. The Muad is remarkably bland. There is not anything notable about this cigar. It is extremely bland. Kind of a personal note, I'm down to 209 pounds. And before you go congratulating me about losing weight, I'm not trying to lose weight. I'm trying to maintain any muscle mass I have, and I can't do it. Like, I'm not allowed to lift weights right now for dialysis and all that. I'm allowed to do cardio, but cardio doesn't build mass. And so, yeah, 209 pounds. Wait, oh, let me check that real fast. Because my last dry weight when I left dialysis was, come on, stop being weird, was 94.9 kilograms. And 94.9 kilograms, I believe, is 210 and some change. So let's find out. 94.9 kilograms to pounds is 209 pounds and some change. Not necessarily happy about that, but it's hard to maintain muscle mass or body mass in general when you're not working out, except for cardio, and you're not eating a lot because everything kind of tastes like fucking styrofoam. And it's not like, oh, a COVID thing. No, no. It's just everything. When your kidneys stop working, your sense of taste kind of goes out the window. And so everything but the boldest of flavors, which is why I really like Maduro, Devil Maduro cigars, because they have a lot of flavors, gets muted. right? It gets turned down. So it's like flavored styrofoam to where, yeah, it has a flavor to it, but it's not it's not a good flavor. It's not like bad necessarily. It's just like everything that normally tastes like a six, seven, maybe an eight. It's like a one or a two, maybe a three, which is irritating. Oh, that was a puppy. That was a puppy in the back of that truck. Oh, that was a cute old boy. A cute little puppy. So, yeah, I don't eat a lot. I have almost no appetite. And yeah, so I'm not eating enough to maintain mass. But if I'm not lifting weights, then I'm not going to be putting on muscle or feeding muscle because the muscle isn't getting used. It's going to turn to fat. So I'm not maintaining weight. So none of my clothes fit. Like this beanie, fucking tense on me, man. Like, look at my arm versus the sleeve, right? I can pull up this much fabric before you see my arm. So everything I own fits like a fucking tent. I'm wearing regular cut pants and they look like relaxed fit. Like I have no mass to me anymore. It's terrifying. Like here's the best example I have. Pardon my bald, messy hair. This is my beanie. In comparison to my head, it's massive, which means I can wear it real loose and lax and flopped in the back, but it doesn't fit right. Nothing I own fits right. And it's just, it's a thing. And it's weird, but I have to deal with it. It's just part of life. You got to deal with what happens, deal with what you have, with what you have, when you have it, you know? But again, that's just part of being an adult is dealing with problems, situations, and issues how you can with what you have when you have it. That's part of life. That's the important part of life. Do what you can with what you got. You know, I mean, it's an unavoidable fact of life, and you can't do much about it. But it is what it is. You know, I keep burnishing this little hat card because I really, really want to polish up the face of it, but leave the valleys or indentations from the stamping. I'll show you again of this stamping, you know, and see if I can get a different set of coloring to it. Because then that means I'll burnish the hell out of the cigar cases and the pipe stands, you know, because I want that product to look good. And when you put out a product for sale, or even if you're doing it for yourself, you want to put your work into it. You want to put pride into what you do, what you produce. You want to put something out that's good. And I'm not saying, if you keep doing it, you'll be the best at it. Maybe, but you'll get better than you were at it. You know, I didn't start off making good product. You know, hell, I've got 5 examples of my cigar and pipe stands. Hell, six. Actually, I got one here. So we have the proof of concept for a cigar and pipe stand. Very rough, not the best. It's ugly, it's raw, and it's not the best. But this was the start of the idea, right? Followed by, these are out of order, version 2, which is longer but has a real small cut. I think this is a A 3.0 or a 30, 30 millimeter cut. Let me find out real fast. No, yeah, it's a 30 millimeter cut, 30 mil or half round. That's how I got to that. And it's a good length. I like the cuts over at this end, but they weren't big enough to hold certain style pipes and cigars. So then I came up with 3.0 where I moved the cuts back, but then I went with a smaller cut, a 25 millimeter cut. And I'm not happy with it. So, but I kind of like the overall length. So then I moved the cuts forward, went with a 30 millimeter cut, which I think worked out best, with a 35 millimeter cut for the round edge. And I liked these. These were simple, but I didn't like the overall design. So I went back to the drawing board and came out with this 35 on the ends, 35 for the cuts, towards the front. And this one has a big poncho on it that I like. And this is kind of what I went with. But then we got to the current edition, which is a 35 millimeter cut for the cigar, closer to the end, right? Closer to the end. So it will hold a bigger pipe or bigger cigars, 35 millimeter round because it looks nice and uniform. And they have rivets. Rivets are quicker than sewing, and they look nicer. They add a little pop to it, you know. This is the current model I'm using. This is what my die is made for, what my template is based on. And all the new ones going forward will have a C star S, cedar and smoke. That way people can recognize branding. Now, once I have a logo, I will pay to have a custom stamp made that I can stamp these with, right? And once I have that stamp made, I can use it again and again and again to get a consistent trademark, which I will have trademarked and I will have copyrighted. But that is further down the road, you know? And I've made holders for the shop. I've got a holder for my bone folder, which I use for all my half rounds, my punches, my stamps, and it's good that, I made those out of scrap, but they work for what I need them to. God, this is a bland fucking cigar. It really is so fucking bland. It's not even remotely funny how bland it is. I mean, jeez. Jeez. It's bland. It's terribly bland. So freaking bland, you know? The other part I want to get a sewing machine is one, to expedite production of these cigar cases. I still have to cut them out with my die, which takes time. But I want to expedite production of these ultra slim wallets, right? 4 cards, a little bit of cash. And the next iteration wallet I'm making, let me pull this out. No, I'm not going to pull it out, but holds 6 cards easily. Put my little fuel saver card in the front so you don't see my license or my credit cards, but has a pocket for cash that, you can pull out. Business cards, cash, probably cash. And then a spot for ID and window for cards. Now, I've already made an improvement on this that 2 of my friends are testing, and it's a stitchless one. It's made with just leather and rivets, and there's no ID window. And it's an ultra slim wallet that I plan to sell. And it's not terribly bigger than this one, not by much. And this fits in your pocket. It fits in a suit jacket. Real easy, comfortable, doesn't bug you. And I like it better than these. But sewing machine, I can mass produce both the stitched versions of the bifold, and I can hopefully make these a lot quicker because those I have a lot of blanks for. These I don't have any for. Mostly because I'm out of material that I use to make these. Put that back in my pocket. Oh, and it sits there. You don't even really feel it. Now, I'm not one to keep my wallet in my back pocket. I know a lot of people who do. I keep mine in my front pocket. I don't know why. Actually, I know why. I grew up in an area where there are a lot of pickpockets, and if you keep it in your front pocket in your thigh, it's less likely to get snagged by a thief. Good thing to have. A little mindset of keeping the shit where it doesn't get stolen. And that's a good thing to have. This has changed color. This has changed quite a bit. A little bit in the time I've been working with it all day. One, it's glossy, which I like. I think the gloss looks good. It means the leather is sealed and protected. Both front and back are glossy. But it's changed colors. It's getting a little lighter on the surface, a little darker in the recesses, which is a good thing, which is what we want, you know? On a side note, one of the things I do want to get, I'll put this up there, is a better bench or a stool, because the one I'm using is kind of garbage. It's not very comfortable. It's not very secure. You know, isn't a good stool. It's not. It was a cheap $20 stool on Amazon, and it is definitely get what you pay for stool. It's not the greatest. It is garbage. It truly is garbage. But like most 40-year-old men, I have bad knees. Because I have bad knees, I need something to sit my ass on so my knees don't get too bad and start hurting, which is why I have to. Excuse me. Huh. Which is why I haven't thrown it out. Because despite not being a very good stool, at least I'm not having to stand the entire time I'm working on leather. I spend hours out here every day putting stuff together, burnishing, dyeing, staining, finishing, and it's nice to have something to sit on. All right, here's the label from today's terribly disappointing cigar. My Uzi weighs a ton by Subculture Studios and JDN, made by Drew Estates. XXL, a 7 by 70 cigar. Here's the label. Avoid this cigar if you like flavor, because this thing is mediocrity at its core. It is a very mediocre cigar. It is so very bland. You know, like I've had a lot of cigars in my time. This one is just extremely bland and not good. It's just not good. I'm putting the bands in the back of my phone case. So next time I run into my friend Birdie, I can give it to him because he collects the bands. Because he's got a friend that enamels them onto cups, like Stanley cups, Yeti cups, tumblers, stuff like that. Not a good cigar. Not a terrible cigar, just not good. It's meh. is the embodiment of meh, you know? Like I said, it's not good. It's not bad, it's just not good. Kind of like my streams. They're not bad, they're just not good. I use a lot of self-deprecating humor, hence South Texas fail. You know, what I need to get is more leather, more veg tan, and more of this leather, this oil tan that I like to make wallets out of because it's a durable fucking leather. Like the oil tan that I use is super, super durable. It has a really cool finish and it's super soft. It really, really is. Like this inside is almost like shag carpet suede. It's beautifully soft. Yeah. Okay, cool. Gas cart's still on top. I didn't expose my ID to y'all. Y'all don't need to know where I live. You can have my P.O. box, but not where I live. Though I doubt anyone will ever come to where I live, or sell anything, or send anything to my P.O. box. But back and forth, back and forth. Sorry, a little Dr. Steele. I used to listen to a lot of Dr. Steele back when he was not retired, and I liked his music. I thought it was good. All right. I'm also waiting on some blue dye, so I can do 3 blue and two, no, just one blue cigar case. You know, just one blue one. That's all. That's all. But there are things going on in the shop. Just right now, I don't have any money for fucking leather. I also need a better way to store finished product. I have these cigar boxes, which I plan to use for displaying when I go to sell them at, rodeo, fiesta, trade fairs, stuff like that, you know? But for business to business, they're just going to get a box of what they ordered and then they can sell it at the price they want, which is fine. Just right now, I don't have enough inventory to do that. I mean, I have enough of the cigar and pipe stands to do it, but I want to have more than just 30. I don't want one sell to a business to clear out my entire inventory. You know, I want to be able, and this goes on to something I've been harping about for months of having inventory before I go to market. Because right now I'm doing order per order, meaning I make a product based on an order as I get the order. And I want to have actual inventory, like a surplus of inventory, excuse me, before I go to market. And the whole reason for that is order per order is slow. It takes a while. But I have a couple of connections to cigar shops here in San Antonio that one person has already said they'd be willing to carry my product. I just have to have enough of it to sell to them. The other is I need to talk to the owner of one of the cigar shops and see if I can get my products into his stores. And same with one of the other shops around town, you know. Plus, it'd be nice to go, set up at the rodeo as a vendor and sell products. It would be nice to go to Fiesta and sell products. It'd be nice to go to Cigar Fest and sell product. You know, that's that's what I think is the important thing. Because if you go to one of these events, like say you go to the rodeo, right, and you only have like 100 cigar cases, okay, and you sell out, you're sold out. You have nothing. You may not make enough to last the weekend or to make your vendor stall profitable at said event. Okay. And I guarantee that a lot of people that go to like the rodeo and set up a vendor stall at the rodeo, I guarantee they sell a lot of product. They sell more than 100, you know. So they have a backlog of, they have a surplus of inventory that as soon as they sell something, they can just replace it on the rack. Now you can create artificial scarcity by going, oh, I've only got a few of those belts left. As soon as they buy it and walk away, you put a couple more up, and you don't put the whole rack up, and people will buy it. Artificial scarcity sells products. I learned that when I worked at Backstock at Express Clothing. They may only have like two or three shirts on the shelves or on the racks at that clothing store, but I guarantee in the Backstock area, we have 30 to 40 more just waiting to go back out. And we just create artificial scarcity by keeping like one or two extra smalls or medium. So people are like, hey, do you have this in this size? And they call backstock, and we're supposed to wait 5 minutes before we call back. Go, yeah, we have one. We have one. Never mind, we have 30 or 40 of that size, style, and color in the back stock room. Go figure. And that's just what I think is funny. But doing that at the rodeo may be a little harder because your inventory is there with you, or what you brought for the day is there with you. When you go home, you can bring more next day. You know, so that's just one of the funny little things about it. And since I make mostly cigar stuff, it wouldn't be that hard to take it to a cigar fest and as a vendor make money, which is key. You're doing it to make money. Now you need to cover your expenses, material, it's leather, thread, dye, tokenol for burnishing, stuff like that. Yeah, you need to make enough to cover that expense, but you also have to make the expense of getting there. If you're flying to an event or driving across the state to an event, you need to be able to cover the gas money. You also need to cover whatever lodging you have for that event. You know, people that go to anime conventions and sell stuff, they're expecting to spend a fair amount of money on travel and lodging on top of material cost. So they bring a lot of their inventory to keep them covered when that happens. Like my end dream goal would to be have a little, like Ford Transit panel van that I can get wrapped with my company's logo and seems rustic. And I can keep all my inventory in the van, in a cage, in the back of the van, so that I could just drive up, have all my tables and awnings set up in the van so that I pull them out, set them up, and go from there. That would be great, you know. So I could pull up to places like the radio, pull into my spot, set my awning up, pull out my, 10 by 10 shade structure or whatever, have my tables, pull them out, set them up, and then at the end of the event, at the end of the day, when it's over, I can pack all that up into the van, and either lock it up in the cage, double lock, so people can't break in and steal it, and then have a kill switch on the vans, somewhere where I could turn it off and people can't start the van, steal the fucking van. That would be a good setup. If I was going to like a Renaissance festival, that would be my setup. You know, or going to like a trade show. I could do that. Now, internal shows, I'd have to cart all that in, but I have a good yard wagon that I could put the tables on, my cloths for the tables, my inventory, take it in, take it out at the end of the day. That's fine. That's not that hard. And maybe if I get big enough, I can have an online store, not like an Etsy. Etsy's full of drop shippers. I don't want to compete with drop shippers. You know, maybe big enough where y'all can order and I can send it to you. Stuff like that. But I don't want to do drop shippers. I don't want to compete with drop shippers. I have very little respect for drop shippers because most of what they're buying is off Temu, Wish, Alibaba, DHgate, and they're just sending. And it's cheap and it's garbage, and I hate that. And I don't want to compete with that. I don't. It's not marketably viable to compete with these foreign drop shippers that you don't even know where they are. They could be based in the US, but they're they're taking all the work out of owning a production company. They're taking all the love and joy out of it. And it's terrible. I hate that. I really hate that. Even, people with Amazon fulfillment stores, it's almost the same fucking thing, you know? And it's terrible. And I hate that. And I don't want to have to compete with that. But I know that I'm going to have to compete with that at some point. That it's unavoidable, you know, that I have to compete. And it's just, yeah, it's just what it is. It's an unavoidable, necessary evil that I can't deal with. Or I could, but I don't want to deal with. And like I said, I'm one guy in his garage doing the best he can, trying to make it big. Not massive. I do not expect to get fucking wealthy from streaming. And I do not expect to get super wealthy from making leather, but I expect to make, a good amount of money, you know? And I don't like it that there's people that seem to think that I think that I'm going to get wealthy doing this. I'm not. I'm not. I make no illusions that I'm going to get super fucking wealthy doing this. You know, I just don't see that happening. In fact, I know way too many people that thought they were going to get big streaming on Twitch, hit affiliate, and then didn't go any further, not for lack of effort, but because they realized I can't make a living as an affiliate. And they hit a plateau. They hit affiliate and they went up and up and up and then they plateaued. And it's because they put everything into one style of stream or one game or a handful of games. And they didn't really do much to grow their audience. I hit affiliate like 2017, 2018, back when it was, back when it was a challenge, or whatever. I don't know. And I was super happy when I did it. And I was very thankful for the mod I had at the time because not only were they modding my channel and modding my stream, but they were a ride or die kind of person. Dragon Dong was, a ride or die. They were not someone I could have done this without, you know. But I make no illusions that I'm going to be the next PewDiePie or Jacksepticeye. I'm not. That's just how the world is, you know. You don't always hit it big. So I'm okay with that. I really am. Because that's how the world works, you know? Excuse me, I gotta switch playlists because that one ended. And I like to have music while streaming or while on my computer. And so we are starting a different playlist. Or it started the same playlist. I'm not sure why. It just did. I make no illusions to why it did that. Oh well, it doesn't matter. um, yeah, it is what it is. Still bland, still mediocre. Just like one of the products I'm not going to make another one of because it was a pain in the ass was a koozie, a fold flat collapsible koozie that one of my friends who owns a business wanted to know if I could make them for his company. And these were such a pain in the ass to make by hand that it's not worth it. If I get a thinner leather that's not this oil tan, maybe, like maybe a soft veg tan, and definitely with a sewing machine, it would be a lot faster. Probably pay to have a dye made for this. I could churn these out, but for now, no. For now, they're not an option. They are too much of a pain in the ass to make. But that's a project that will happen on another day. Another day down the road, maybe I'll pick it back up and start marketing them. Hell, maybe I'll just make them and give them away. Who knows? You know, it is what it is. Do, 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 do. But again, the three big machines I'm looking to buy: a good leather rated sewing machine from medium to heavyweight leather, beveler machine, not beveler, a burnishing machine. It's kind of like a bench mounted grinder. It's got sander on one side, real fine sandpaper that you use to sand the edge. And then it's got another side, it's a big version of this wheel. It's probably about that big. And it's got the same slotting sizes, and you just as it runs and turns, so you can get good finishes and, you know, make it look good. And then you just go from there. Now, with this, on this flat surface, I just do this, get a good buff and polish on it. And then I just sit here and rub it on denim and then a cotton t-shirt that I use as a rag to get a really, really nice finish. Takes time. But who knows? Maybe I'll find a better way to do it. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll find out. You know, I am happy with how this piece is turning. It's slowly getting lighter on the surface and developing light spots and keeping some dark spots where the dye penetrated the leather a little deeper. It's looking good. But no, I'm down to 209 pounds and some change for my dry weight for dialysis. I haven't weighed under 220 in 25 years, maybe. Like, I've always been a big guy. No, I'm not as big of a big guy as I was. And it's weird. Oh well, it is as it is, and I can't really do much about that. I don't eat when I'm not hungry. It is what it is. Oh well, part of life, accepting shit that you can't change, facing it with courage and decency, and just dignity, you know? I mean, we all don't stay young and powerful forever. We all get old. But you don't get old for being dumb. You get old for being a little wiser than you should have been, or you should be when you're younger. Learning your lessons as they come up, and facing reality. It's the mediocrity of life, in the best of ways, you know? And that's the important part of life. That reminds me, when I go in and download this stream, since my dumbass didn't record it, what I need to do is change my work on my affiliate and change the payee from me personally to my company. Keep that money nice and separate. Not that I make a lot of money on these streams. Ad revenue, I have a banner ad and an ad every half hour, middle of the hour and the top of the hour. Less than 3 minutes of ads. Or five, I don't remember. And I don't generate much. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. I don't need to make a ton of money. I don't. Like I said, 40 years old. I have full time, I have part time, and I have a side hustle. I used to have two side hustles, but I recently quit driving for Uber because I'm sick of the bullshit. I really am. I'm tired of the bullshit with Uber. Tired of rude drunk passengers. Tired of drunks. I'm tired of drunk drivers. Tired of idiots running red lights and broadsiding my Jetta. I'm just sick of it. So, you want to get the car replaced on Monday? I'm not going to start driving for Uber again. I don't want to deal with that shit. I don't want to deal with it. It is not the same as it was in this city, you know? It's just not. And it's not worth the headache and hassle. It really isn't. Oh well. It is what it is. Can't change it. Can't do much about it. Just accept it, move on, learn your lessons, and go. I just don't want to do it. You know, I'm more willing to deal with a mediocre cigar than I am with driving for Uber ever again. You know, and which is kind of sad because for 5 years, driving for a little over 5 years, over 5,000 trips, and a rating of 4.99. Uber didn't go to bat for me when they should have. And because of that, I just can't be bothered to give a shit anymore. I really can't. I can't be bothered. It's not what I want. It's not what I want to deal with. And as an adult, I'm not going to deal with shit that I don't have to deal with. You know? It was fun in the beginning for the first 3, 4 years, but the last year has really been a nightmare. Not a nightmare. It's been a pain in the ass. I've had to deal with drunks. I've had to deal with assholes. Drunk assholes. Uh, I've had to deal with other people's drama. I've had to deal with road rage drunks that are mad that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing while driving. And I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with, dumbasses trying to rob me again. I don't want to deal with the assholes. I really don't. You know? All right, this thing's fucking falling apart. We're done with it. Normally I wouldn't stuff it out like that, but god damn it, I'm done with it. Bland, mediocre, falling apart, terrible construction. If I had to give that cigar rating, the My Uzi weighs a ton. The My Watt or Muwatt, I'll give it a 2 out of 5. Not even, yeah, 2 out of 5. It's not great. It's not good, but it's not terrible. It's just mediocre. So I think a 2 out of 5 is a good rating for that. I really do. It is not what I would call a good stick. Oh well. Well, it's been an hour and a half. I'm tired and kind of hungry. So I'm thinking we're gonna end it here. So yeah, we are gonna end the stream here in a second. Let me throw up the end is nigh. So yeah, if you liked the stream, that's awesome. If you didn't, I'm sorry. I really am. But if you liked it, feel free to drop a follow. Following's free. That's all I ask. Other than that, y'all be good to each other. You know, be good to each other. I love y'all. Bye.